So let us move on now to the fourth of the five biggies, which is called the unconscious death urge. Was it Soren Kierkegaard said, your thoughts about death are influencing every action in your life. Your beliefs about death are actually in the backdrop of every action that you take. And so that's why we're looking at it. What are our beliefs about death? It's kind of like a taboo subject, and we don't. Hey, hi Tom, I'm Jim. How do you feel about death? Oh, specifically your death. It's generally not polite conversation. And yet it's back there. We do all sorts of shenanigans to avoid it. We got to keep ourselves entertained. We got to recite positive affirmations continuously. We've got to breathe, pray, do anything, but look at it. So if you're willing, let's go in and look at it. See, I think behind that unconscious death urge is something very positive. And that is a desire for peace. We all desire to come to peace in our life, to not be in struggle, to not be in fear. Now, the twist comes in here is when we blame it all on our body. Well, the reason I'm fearful and the reason I have low self-esteem is I don't have enough energy, I've got birth trauma, I've got terrible parents. We blame it all on our body, so the logical conclusion is get rid of the body and we'll have peace. And even certain religions and philosophies will tell that. Earth is a vale of tears, kind of like a big test. You can make it through this and you don't screw up too bad. You might. There's a chance that there's some peace for you. And if you don't do well enough, you'll get put in the holding tank. You have to recycle, and you might do better next time. Good luck. So we have this desire for peace, and yet it seems like there's obstacles everywhere to peace. Again, that challenge, and it is part of the human condition, as you call the limited self or the finite self, is part of the human condition. When it's separate from the unchangeable and the perfect self, it's really scary. When they're in cahoots and when they're working together as a whole, just like the yin yang symbol, the whole, then I can have challenges. I can have even scary things, all that come up. But it's not eternal damnation, the sword of Damocles hanging over my head all the time. And I will get scared and I will feel like that at times, like, oh, this is the biggie here. If I don't pass this exam, or if I get fired, or if I have a flat tire on the way to the seminar, or if I, whatever it is, we put this big consequence over there. And living that way is exhausting. It's depleting. So how do we come to a place where this unconscious death urge isn't solved by killing ourselves? So we're going to do an exercise in a few minutes to look at your unconscious death urge. And there's part of you that knows what your beliefs about death are, when you're programmed to die, and what of. Oh, I don't know that. That's a big. No, there's part of you that it's programmed in your belief system, and we can look at it. And we're also going to look at the death urges, the desire for resolution. It's peace with the thought that the body is the problem. and thus the body must be destroyed. So the belief in death invades every breath we take. The fear, the caution, the resignation, etc., is all there in how we breathe. It's the cause of illness, pain, suffering, depression, self destruction. And it's chosen not because it's desirable, because we believe it's necessary. We believe that's what life is. So the belief in immortality promotes well-being and health. And again, Leonard Orr was great with the paradox. He called it physical immortality. So a lot of people, yes, I believe my soul will go on forever. My body, though, it's got a limited shelf life. It's going to check out, and it's going to check out according to certain programs, which we'll look at. So he talked about physical immortality. So that life in body, which has the potential to continue indefinitely. Most people build up so many aches and pains. It's like, let me out of here. I don't want to live forever. Forget it. Now, theoretically, as we release that accumulation of aches and pains, it's not so attractive to have to kick the bucket. So the belief in immortality does not eliminate the choice of death, nor eliminate the present healing methods that we have or challenges that we're going to have in our body. So there's a whole movement called the Committee for the Elimination of Death, or the Foundation for Infinite Survival. Fact is, we have increased our lifespan 3 times in the last 2 centuries. Cells aren't necessarily programmed to die. Generally, cells die because of an accumulation of waste products. Think about it. If I keep taking out the garbage, there's, again, no reason to bring about my death. So the laws of death go according to family patterns. This is how life insurance companies make their money. They look at patterns. What's the life expectancy in general and of your family with this history of heart disease, cancer, whatever it is? It's all tabulated. Come out with a number. And according to that number, if you pay X number of dollars over this period of time, and we're going to come out ahead. And that's why they're one of the most profitable businesses on the planet. It's all statistically tabulated. Usually, you die within 5 years of the death of a same-sex parent. If you happen to be a conformist, you die when the death urge of the same-sex parents is activated. And you may notice this, you may have noticed this, if a same-sex parent starts to get ill and near death, you start feeling symptoms. And there's even that death urge might even be accentuated. If you are really a conformist, you may die before them. If you're a rebel, then you're calculated to outlive them so-and-sos. But again, living to get even or living to be one up is hardly living. There's an expression, the good die young. Well, Leonard Orr thought it was about the fact if you really lived in an enlightened way and you handled a lot of this death urge and parental disapproval, and you mastered a lot of these things, and the only thing that was left is your belief in death, you check out. So if you get too good and too holy, and you haven't taken care of your death urge, so even the Christian message from Christ is, he who believes shall never die. So, what are the alternatives to this belief in immortality? Well, let's name some popular ones. Annihilation. You die, done, gone, it's over. Don't worry about it. We're all in the same boat. Astral world. Oh, you die and you go off into the world of astral beings and you can float around your heart's content. Reincarnation. Okay, you're going to come back. Some things you didn't complete here, and suspended animation or sleep. You just, your soul goes to sleep and that's it. You're in deep freeze. Resurrection. 6 feet under, and or when it's time is up, boom, you'll come up, hopefully looking a little better than you did down there. Possession. You can go and be a walk-in. A walk-in is a belief that you will go into someone else's body and kind of take over their life from that point on. I've known some people that have believed that, and that actually are actually quite enlightened people. Rematerialization, so that your particles will disperse and then you can bring them back together again. Cloning. So let's do this little exercise right now. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes right now and just breathe easily. And I just named a bunch of alternatives to the belief that you could continue to live immortally. But as you go inside right now, go back into your heart of hearts and listen to what is the alternative that you've been living with. What is your thoughts about death and your death? If you lived and just lived out, unconsciously lived out your family pattern, your gender, your health situations, when would you be slated to die? And of what? What would be the cause? Now, just again, don't get, this isn't a test for your mind. This is just intuitively what pops up for you. Okay. So recognize these are just thoughts now. This isn't, the reason some people get scared about this is it's like superstition. Oh, now I thought of that. Now it's going to happen. No, don't get superstitious about it. Just know these are patterns. Write it down. Write down what you came up with. How long you're going to live and what you would die of, according to your family patterns. So I got 85 heart attack. That would be the family script for me. So whatever it is for you, now just keep breathing with this, okay? This is not, you're writing your death warrant or something like this. In fact, au contraire, mes amis. This is about facing what's lurking in our shadows. You know, we make it conscious. Now we have some choices. All right, but this is perhaps a bit hasty here that we can make choices because there's a lot of good reasons that we may have to die. So let's find out what those reasons are. And we can just say, oh, 85 heart attack. It's like, well, I don't want to do that. Well, maybe there's a lot of things lobbying inside of me for why that's not a bad idea. I don't have to worry about finances anymore. I don't have to deal with physical ailments. I don't have to blah, but so on. So here's what I'm handout 3 is called death benefits and life insurance. So here's your assignment right now. We're all going to do this together. I'm doing it with you. I wasn't even going to make this a handout. I was just going to tell you to get a piece of paper and split it down the middle. On the left-hand side, you write death benefits. On the right hand, you write life insurance. Now, on the left-hand side, this is what you do first. Come up with 10, see if you can come up with 10 good reasons to die. Things that subconsciously you might say, yeah, that sounds good to me, I don't have to deal with the boils on my back or the hemorrhoids. So write down 10 good reasons to die. Again, let's do all this together right now. On the right-hand side, you're writing down what is a way that you could achieve that death benefit you wrote on the left-hand side without having to kill yourself. There are ways that you can eliminate your body pains, your financial, without having to die. Write them down. Okay, let's take what you got so far. Let's go into a breakout room and share what you have with your partner. And you can also serve as a consultant with your partner. If, for example, they got stuck on one and they say, I couldn't figure out a way to have this benefit without killing myself. And if you have a suggestion as to how they might do that, feel free to remember, you're not laying it on them. You're just offering a suggestion. That's okay. And if they don't want it, forget it. All right, just let it be. All right. So let's go ahead, get together with your partner and just share what you've got so far in terms of your death benefit and your life insurance. Yeah. All right. A question here. Did anyone come up with a death benefit that they couldn't remedy with life assurance? Anyone here? Okay, no one in the room. How about in virtual land? Did anyone come up with a death benefit that they were unable to remedy with life affirmation?
Solving the mystery of what happens when you die. How do I solve that without dying?
Solving the mystery of what happens when you die. Well, I read something in a magazine once that said the enlightened person knows no more what's going to happen after death than they know what's going to happen in the next moment. And I said, I'm not going to read anything else by this author. Because that was seriously, I said, because this is so perfect. This is so perfect. I don't want to spoil it with anything else. So, in other words, that was so brilliant that if I live for the next moment, death is just the next moment. And so, if I'm taking care of the next moment now, I just keep doing that, whatever it is. Okay, so Tom just related to us that near-death experiences have been recorded, and there's a book on them by Raymond Moody, wrote about it. And so there's a lot of people even hypnotized that have come back. And the Tibetan Book of the Dead has been around for centuries. Yeah. And Tibetans have made a great science and practice out of being with people in their death process and the steps that they go through in the death process. And so I actually have a YouTube video out on that, a free YouTube video, and it's a way of preparing, if you will, for what has been recorded for thousands of years as the process of dying. That's the general consensus about immortality, that our spirit is immortal and goes on. But some people use that as, well, my spirit is immortal, but I like cigars and getting drunk every night. And so I don't have to worry about it. And so they disembody themselves long before is necessary. It's a form of spiritual bypassing. You know, well, my spirit's going to go on forever anyhow. So, and they cheat themselves out of life. They cheat themselves out of the divine ecstasy of being here now with us. And this is a new story that Andy just told me today, which I loved. Hollis Little Creek was in his 80s and he smoked cigarettes every day. And what he said was that he blessed the cigarettes, he blessed the smoke, and he didn't take anything into his body that wasn't nurturing. And so he reversed a lot of the cultural beliefs. This doesn't mean that everyone can now smoke because Hollis Little Creek did it. No, I had people here who in this room taught a seminar on this subject whose father was Flory Riggs. And Flory Riggs was an immortalist. And how he died was he was between two trees and they saw him disappear. Okay. When they went to his cabin, they found stacks and stacks of canned food, which apparently he went to the store and bought so he'd look normal, but he never ate it. So there's all different ways. Leonard Orr, a teacher who studied rebirth, made a study of himself of immortal masters. He in India traveled around and he found, I believe it was 10 people that were over 200 years old. So they're there. Read the book, The Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. 5 books. It's about an American scientist that went over to study the phenomenon of these so-called masters in the 5 East. Baird Spalding was the scientist in the 1890s. He went over, and you'll read, if you decide to read these books, the first one is very easy and entertaining. And then the second one, it was a little more challenging. The third one, the fourth one, I could not read more than a paragraph a day. It was so intense, the lessons that came through that and the experiences that he had. Now, this was a scientist. He still was a scientist when he came back. And he recorded all of these things that he experienced physically, being with the master here and then traveling through the Himalayas and going. And he showed up after days of intensive travel, and the master was there already. Or hordes of people attacking them. And the master simply, whatever he did, the horses reared up and stopped, and they turned around and ran in the other direction. I mean, experience after experience of what he detailed. So yeah, there's all sorts of things beyond our belief systems. People fall out of airplanes 2,000 feet in the air and live. Well, we can't explain that. That can't be. Spontaneous remission of all sorts of fatal disease, all of these things are, but what doesn't fit in your belief system is discarded. If you choose to challenge that belief system about death, a whole world will open up. Yeah. So what would be a remedy for hate besides killing yourself?
Love.
Oh, we're hearing love. Another way of looking at hate is this frozen love. You don't hate someone that you're neutral to. You don't hate the paper boy unless he doesn't deliver paper to you. You've got some emotional connection with the person that you hate. And so that emotional connection is life energy that is frozen. And if you unfreeze that life energy, you dissolve the hate. How to do that? It's different with each person. But just knowing that hate is frozen love, and there's something, that person is in my life to help me thaw out. A lot of people hate Hitler. A lot of people hate certain political figures. Seriously, it's like, okay, find out what it is that person is in your life to help you thaw out. Okay. Are we having fun yet? Okay, so know now, right now, in your mind, so who believes that they will advance in mastery, but will, in this lifetime, die beyond their control? So just know if that's you, that's fine. Who believes that they have a good shot at mastery over death, that they might get to that point where if they choose death, they do it consciously? Who believes that they assuredly will not die without a conscious choice? In other words, you have belief that you, if you choose to leave your body in its present form, there's always bodies after this, you know. You're always going to have a body, some sort, an angel body, a astral body, or whatever it is. Who believes assuredly that they will not die without a conscious choice? And now, how does this belief that you currently have right now affect your daily relationships with your body and with others? And this is not about judging yourself. Oh, I should be in category 3. You know, no, you're not going to get to any other category unless you love the category you're in, or the judgments that you have, and find out why those judgments are there. They've served you for some reason. Even that's parental disapproval stuff. If why my parents spanked me with a wooden stick, unless I am willing to look at that and experience what I learned from it, why they were doing it, and the love that was transmitted there, I'm going to still resent my parents. Okay. So what change in your belief would improve your daily relationships with your body and others? What change? Check in right now. Just ask yourself that on the inside. What change in my beliefs around death would improve my relationships with myself and others? This is probably not really complicated. It's probably something you already know, but it's something you're willing to take to heart more right now. So from this answer that you just received, write an affirmation. How would you implement that answer you just received right now in an affirmation? Let's go right to our guidance and let the affirmation come from that. I'm checking in and just say your affirmation. This is called sharing the wealth. Just say your affirmation and everyone say thank you. Okay. So I love discovering more ways to accept myself every day.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Tim.
And thank you all for sharing the wealth.